Good morning. This is Margaret Betty at the University of Sewing, and this is Facebook Live, we hope. I don't even know what is going on, but we have, I can't get my cell phone to work with Facebook at all. It will not let me do anything live. It's acting like I'm not an administrator or something.
So we went to plan B.
So we went to plan B. Now we're with Dave's phone. It seems to be working. We had a delay there somewhere.
Mary Miller's with us.
Oh, thank goodness. I need somebody to cheer me on. Cheer me on. Technology hates me. So, all right. So today is going to be fun because along with us being open from 10 until 6 today.
Benita's here. I got to interrupt you. We have to.
I need my cheering squad here. I really do.
Lisa McDonald's watching.
That's awesome.
We're going to do better because we started late.
Maybe we're going to do better because we started late. I don't know. Boy, does it. It's just something. So I've got 2 machines set up to show you just how easy it is to use the BERNINA Buttonholer. So we're going to talk about that. It's October 1. Guess what? You can buy accessories, BERNINA accessories from me online. We are allowed to do that now. They are letting us sell our BERNINA accessories online, and we are live. So if you ever need a foot, a case, anything to do with your BERNINA sewing machines, and you are not local, I can ship them to you. So we are very grateful to be in that place. And we're happy to say that I haven't had a chance to check it. I put everything on there live this morning, so I've got to go back in and make sure there hasn't been any errors or anything, but that will work. Denise, did we ever figure out what we were doing for our Facebook?
The giveaway?
The giveaway.
The giveaway, yes.
Wait.
That pattern from Alice's class, from the sergy with the decorative threads.
Yeah. Okay,
Yes.
all right. So we've got a really cool pattern for you for today's giveaway. So please share.
And Pat Miller has.
Thank you, Pat. But you already have this. Oh no, Pat Miller doesn't have it, but actually Mary Miller has it. So, okay. So the pattern we're giving away today is to make this gorgeous project. And I will tell you, I was absolutely floored at how beautiful this is. This is so pretty. Normally, I'm kind of reserved on the glitz and the glamour stuff, but this one is just shockingly pretty. We carry the Galmore threads that you can use on your serger. It doesn't have to be an L890, although we do prefer that you use an L890. By the way, that's this little sweetheart I'm standing beside. But here's the pattern, and what it is it's a table runner and placemats. And it's done with a really cool woven pattern. And the way that Alice just did a class on this, and so we should probably ask her to do another class on this. What do you think, guys? This will be something that you can learn how to use decorative threads on your serger. This works for any kind of serger. It doesn't have to even be a BERNINA, although BERNINAs do it better, I'm quite sure. So this is the giveaway for today. So, and you know what? The fact of the matter is, this is so cute. You know, anybody's going to be able to use this and get a really nice result out of that pattern.
Brenda Mills shared.
Oh, thank you, Brenda. Okay, so I'm standing in front of the L890, and I might as well tell you about the sale for this one right now so that we can make sure that you know about it. Any of the L8 series, that means the 850, which is just a standard air threading serger, or the 860, which is the computerized version. So it has a screen like the L890, but it's just a serger / overlocker. And so, and when I say just, it's a wonderful machine. You will love it. I've got them on order, both the 850 and the 860. The 850 should be here on Monday, and the 860 I'm sure we'll see pretty soon. So we'll have those in the shop. This sale goes on literally through the end of the year. So if you're saving up some money and you want to get it, and you're thinking you want to do this, I know there's this lovely customer out there in our Facebook world and in our real world. She's told me she wants one of the L890s. This actually might be a really good sale for her because she's going to be able to get this machine, the wonderful little trolley to take it to your classes, and we are offering classes on these machines now on a regular basis, and you get a foot set. So you're going to get the, let's see which one this is, our beading and sequence foot. You're going to get a cording foot. You are going to get 2 piping feet, and you're going to get the decorative spool pin holder. So when you're doing these beautiful metallic threads on it, you'll be able to get all those things. That's called, we're adding these gifts with your purchase. So it is, I'll look and see, but it's actually a really big savings because the trolley bag itself is $500. And then all these feet are going to add another probably about $150 onto that purchase. So, oh, and I forgot. And throw in the big book of serging. So those all are going to come with your purchase of the L890. And this book alone is going to be $100. So think about, I mean, you're going to save about $750 when you make this purchase because you're getting all those things for free. So that is the deal on the L8 sergers. And by the way, that's on all of them. They all come with the specialty feet. They all come with the big book of serging, and they all come with the trolley bag. So no matter if you get an 850, 860, or an 890, you will get that package. So really cool deal right now. Perfect to put on your Christmas list. We've got a great selection of L890s right now, so you don't have to wait. You can come in here, and we've got the feet, we've got the big book of serging, we've got you all set up and ready to go. And you know that whenever you buy something from us, we always give you classes. So I'm going to sit down in my very comfy red Bernina chair. And by the way, we have those in stock right now. And we're going to show you how to do a buttonhole. Now, I'm going to tell you about doing this buttonhole is that the first thing you should do when you do a buttonhole is you should interface the area that the buttonholes are in. Now, look at this gorgeous dress that Kayla made. I'm pretty certain there's over 20 buttonholes on that. That would be really intimidating for a lot of people, and I can understand why. I have had different sewing machines over the years that when I would sit down to do a buttonhole, I would do one, and then I'd do the second one, and they would not turn out the same. And then I'd be trying to rip out the buttonhole, and if you've ever tried to rip out a buttonhole, the stitches are really close together. It's really easy to damage your fabric, and it's a pain. So what I always tell people to do is take a scrap of the actual fabric of the garment or the project you're working on, the actual fabric, and make yourself a test sample. And in this case, we are going to, excuse me. So, we are going to take a piece of just black cotton, and we've put a piece of interfacing in here. And notice that this is a probably 1.5 inch wide strip of interfacing. Now this is a woven interfacing, and what I will point out to you is you should probably test a couple of different interfacings to see what works better. So this one's woven, and here we carry knit interfacing also. I kind of like the knit interfacing a little bit better. So the knit interfacing is very lightweight, but it will give you the stability you need under a buttonhole. The problem with most people doing buttonholes is they try to do a buttonhole without putting any kind of stabilizer under them. And what ends up happening is the stitching doesn't look very good because it doesn't have anything it'll curl up the fabric, it will make it wavy, it's just not very attractive. So what I oftentimes do, and by the way, this is 1 inch wide knit interfacing in white. We carry it in white and black, and we carry a 2 inch wide knit interfacing in white and black. So what you can do is you can go ahead and just buy that by the yard, and then anytime you're doing a strip of buttonholes like we did here on this dress, you can run that down the whole length of that area. And that's kind of the idea of what I did here. And these are fusible. You can also use a woven, for example, if I were at home and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm still sewing for some crazy reason, and I can't get to a store to get my interfacing, what you could do instead is you could run a piece of cotton lawn, or you could run a piece of cotton and just baste it in place along the fold of your garment or your project, and then baste it here. Then when you go to do your buttonhole, you can go ahead and test that and see if that turns out nice. I am such a tester. I've just learned over the years the extra 10 minutes I spend on testing can potentially save my entire project because I don't mess it up. Okay, so one of the things we need to show you is that Bernina gives you 2 different feet you can use to do buttonholes, but we're going to use this one today, and it's called an automatic buttonhole foot. The number on it is 3A. This will work on any of the 3 series machines all the way up through your 880 and 880 plus machines. So this is really a wonderful foot. Dave, if you can get in here for a second, I'm going to set this down so I'm not wiggling it. But what I want to show everybody, I'm going to see if I can get a pointer here. Okay, there is this little slider right here in red, but there's a little red mark on the foot, on the interior of the foot. So what you can do is you can say, okay, I'm going to use a buttonhole or a button that looks, my goodness, maybe I need to pick one just slightly bigger so it doesn't fall in there on me. Okay, say that's the button I'm going to use. My little marks on my foot start right here. And what I would do is set this down and I would move my slider just past the size of the button itself. And then that should give me a buttonhole big enough to fit over there. Now, if you have a really thick buttonhole, go ahead and slide it down a little bit more and give yourself some more room. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to do this long of a buttonhole. And I'm going to put it over here like I do any of my feet. We'll just put it on the machine. I'm going to finish threading up my little, if I can find the start of my thread. Let's put the glasses on. It is time to be able to see. There we go. Ah, there we go. All right, so whenever you thread your sewing machine, you always make sure that that foot is up so that your tension discs are open. So then, and what we're going to do is we're going to put our, well, that doesn't work like that. I am very spoiled. I've forgotten. There we go. We should, we'll see. Oh, nope, our buttonholer is broken on this machine. I'm going to have to get my handy dandy technician to go ahead and fix that buttonholer for me.
Needle threader?
Needle threader, that's what I meant. Thank you. Not the buttonholer. The buttonholer will work just fine. So I am running my thread down the little opening for my buttonhole foot, and then I'm going to hit on this machine. I hit the 0 down here, and it starts my it's going to be for number 10, which is a buttonhole. And you can see along this edge, it's got a little blinking light. That means it's going to do the left-hand side of my buttonhole. And I can adjust the size of the legs of my buttonhole by making this a little bit bigger. This is my stitch width regulation. So I've just made that as big as it can be. Now I'm going to, normally what you would do is you put a mark wherever the start of your buttonhole is. And we're going to, because I don't have something to mark it real handy, we're going to pretend that that's what I did. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sewing down the side, and I'm going to watch my two little red lines. And then I'm going to hit my reverse button. And now what's happened is it's remembered the length of this whole procedure, and it's sewing a buttonhole for me. Now, Dave, come back up here to the screen and show them what it says on the screen. See where it says auto? So now what I can do is I can go ahead and I can look at my buttonhole, and I can go back and get that little button that I had. And look at that. It looks like it's going to work for that buttonhole. But what I would normally do is I'd cut open this buttonhole and make sure that it is going to be big enough for my project right here. Hey, Denise, can you get me a set of scissors? A pair of scissors. That's what I meant to say. It didn't come out right. Today's all been a little freaky. There's some in that basket over there, I'm sure. Okay, so what I want to show you though is now what I can do is I can put my foot down, I can press my go button. Now this would be where I'd want my next buttonhole to be. And watch what the machine's going to do. By the way, I'm not touching anything because it's a small piece of fabric and it's guiding it just fine. But if I had a bigger garment, that's fine. If I had a bigger garment, I might be a little more careful with it. But with this, it's not going to go anywhere on me. Okay, so it finished up the buttonhole. I didn't have to hit anything. And then what I want to show you, which is really, really cool, I'm going to take and cut these apart so you can see just honest engine. They are identical. Look at that.
Benita pointed out too the fact that don't forget the great buttonhole cutter accessory from Bernina.
Oh, that's right. That is a wonderful tool, and I actually use that all the time. But look at that. I have enough room in here between my little, these are called beads. Each side of the buttonhole, it's called beads. And look at that. There's room in between there. I can go ahead and cut that. And what Benita was just talking about is this accessory item right here. It has a little wedge-shaped cutter in it. Here, we can probably take this out of the box and make it make much more sense. I've been thrown off my game today a little bit. I don't like it when we don't start on time. So what you get is a little wooden block, and you get a metal chisel, and they have a nice safety cover on there because this is really sharp. And what it will do is you would put this on here and you can cut. And usually what I'll do is I'll use this wooden block. You could use your rotary cutter mat, but this is really pretty intense and it cuts really well. And so what you might, if you did it on your rotary cutter mat, it might actually cut through the mat. So I'm not sure you want to do that. But it can, see, it will go right here, and you just, the fabric is very thick, you might use a little hammer. But if it's just a matter of that you're going ahead and cutting between there with a normal piece of like a top fabric or a lightweight dress fabric, you probably don't need to hammer it. You probably have enough strength in your hand to just go through there. But the idea of that wedge is so that you don't cut those little threads on either side of the buttonhole, because that's actually a really common, very annoying thing to do. So for those of you out there who have, you know, a simpler Bernina this buttonhole foot, what I'm trying to point out is you can use this. And if you've not tried it out, this is a really good time to get out your machine and figure out how to use that buttonholer. It's super simple, as I just showed you. I just hit the buttonhole stitch and I hit the reverse button when I get down to the end of what I want my buttonhole to look like. We're going to go over on 790 and do the same thing, because I want to show you one very cool thing that the higher end machines can do and that you would maybe want to. Unfortunately, this doesn't come out until you get into the 5 series machines, but it really is pretty exceptional. So let's go over to the other machine and we'll put that stuff right there. I don't think I need anything else from over here, but let's go over to our 7. Oh, Dave, don't forget to take a picture. Guess what we have in the shop? We have a demo unit of last year's special edition 790 with a peacock front. Now, the problem is when we get a demo like this, we don't have all the gifts with purchase that they came with, but if you want something with a pretty front on it instead of just a typical 790, that's pretty amazing. So let's go ahead and let's sit down at our 790. Very kindly, Denise set this one up for me, so it is ready to sew. And the only thing I need to do is put my little thread through here. I don't have, well, maybe I do, or where's our little, I don't know where our little red boxes went. But normally what I would do is I'd have a set of tweezers over here so that I could get this, but because the 790 has higher clearance level, that was actually easier to do this time. So again, we have a piece of fabric that has interfacing on it, and then what we're gonna do, do we have one of those white chalk markers in one of those boxes? That I don't know. Yeah, this stuff right here.
Yay.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do, just so you can see it, we are going to say, let's pretend that we want our buttonhole right there. This is, and usually when I mark for buttonholes, I mark all the way down the front of my garment. Usually buttonholes are approximately 5/8 of an inch away. I think this was 3/4. This would be more typical in a jacket, would be 3/4, but typically you're gonna look at 5/8 inches from the edge, and that's where you would put your buttonhole. And see that cross mark right there? What I can do when I go to do a buttonhole, I can go ahead and put my needle right there, and we're going to put our foot down. There we go. And then we're going to say we're going to do a button that's that size. So again, remember there's a little red mark at the top. That's my top of my buttonhole. And this little red marker is supposed to be for where I want the bottom. And what I only need that for the very first buttonhole I make, because the machine will remember it after that, and then it doesn't really matter if you accidentally hit that slider. It's not going to make any difference. The machine can't see the slider. That's a guide for you. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and you're going to, oh, we're going to do one thing here, Dave. Look, at the machine, it's taken and has it all set up right here. We're going to do one thing. Now look at this button right here. That is the opening for the buttonhole itself. And you can make that bigger. And notice that on here, it's got 2 little dials. That means I can use either one of these. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this really wide so that you can kind of see the difference. And what happened on the screen here is it did get a little wider. We're going to do one more thing. We're going to make the legs just a little bit wider. So we're going to do that. And we've got that set up really well. Now it's ready to record. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to start sewing. And this time I'm using my foot control. Now I'm going to slow down here so that I can get right to that mark. And see, I can stop right there. and then I can hit my reverse button, and then I can either use my foot control or then I can hit my on button. And the machine knows what's going on because the darn thing's smarter than me. Now look at the front. That shows you what the buttonhole's supposed to look like. So we're going to go ahead and cut our thread. And look at that. Look how wide that is right there. So if you have a really thick fabric, you would want to go ahead and open up that area a little bit more, because if you've ever made a buttonhole on a really thick fabric, what typically ends up happening is those beads, those right and left legs of the buttonhole, tend to get smushed up against each other. And so one of the really cool features of your Bernina is that you can, on the higher end models, you can change that buttonhole so that that opening is a little bit bigger, and it makes it easier to cut this without cutting those threads. That's one of the most aggravating parts for me, is I can't tell you how many times I've gone and made a buttonhole, and then when I cut it, I have gone ahead and cut these little threads right here. So having the ability to make those legs further apart so that that's not such an issue is really wonderful. So we made our test, and if we like it, and by the way, if you don't like it, what you can do is you can either clear out the whole buttonhole and start over again, or you can just go ahead and make a couple of changes. For example, if I think my threads are too tight right here on the right and left leg, what I can do is I can change my buttonhole stitch length, and look at the screen now. Look how far apart they are now. Now, I typically wouldn't want a buttonhole to look like that, but there may be some instance where that's what you do want, or it's stacking up too much. Those threads are stacking up too much. And so now what I could do is I can go ahead and say, okay, my next buttonhole right here, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to put it in the middle of my markings. I usually make my marks pretty big so that I don't have any problems seeing. And I used today was a white wax marker, but this is only for demonstration purposes so that you can see it. Typically, I would not use this wax on cotton. So I just want you to know that that is the case. So what we're going to do is just hit the on button. We're going to make sure that that stays on my line. Look at that. It's going to sew the same size buttonhole it did before as far as the length goes, but now what it's going to do is those beads on the right and left side, they're further apart. So that's how it goes and sews this for you. So, and if I really love this buttonhole and I want to save it for another time, you know the Berninas have a place where you can save it. And what you can do is say, I want to put my buttonhole right in one of my folders. Ta-da! Now I can go back and I can have that. I can do something else. I can come back to my favorites. I can take it out of my folder and I can say, oh, that's the one I want. And there it is. It set it up again for me. So pretty awesome features to be able to have. And really nice way to get your buttons all done. And by the way, today, now that I have a Bernina, and I've done this on a 330 or a 335 or a 5 series or on a 7 or an 8 series, I've been able to make an entire line of buttons on a shirt. And by the way, yes, today I'm wearing a shirt I made, and I can make those buttonholes now in less than, like 6 buttonholes down the front of a shirt in 10 minutes. And I mean that sincerely. They are so simple. But I always make a test on the fabric I'm using. You see how wonderfully these turned out. Both the fronts and the backs look absolutely wonderful. And so what you'll want to be able to do is your next project, see how wide that opening is? Now, on this fabric, that might not make sense because you'll end up with little threads hanging out here. But on a coat, that would actually take up the room because it would be heavier. And you guys know I like to sew coats. Okay, so let's finish up today in talking about some of the deals coming up right now. We are going to get, we only ordered a couple of the 790 crystal editions. We've already sold one of them. The other one is on order. It will be here anytime, and it is not sold yet, so you have an opportunity to get the crystal edition. If you haven't had an opportunity to see the video that we made showing our crystal edition 790, a regular 790, and that wonderful peacock 790, we've got a traditional 790 in the shop right now and a 790 peacock. You can come in, you can test it out, and then if you want the crystal edition, the crystal edition's going to come with all of the toys. It's going to come with really cool bags. It's going to come with the high-speed embroidery unit. It's going to come with a whole set of Swarovski crystals. It's really beautiful. It's going to come with your own embroidery bundle. So, and you'll get a coupon for buying the embroidery software version 9 for 50% off. How can you beat that? So that's really, really, really wonderful. But don't forget our L890 series, your sergers and your serger cover stitch machine. You can get those right now, and they have wonderful gifts that you get with that purchase. You're going to get the group of feet, you are going to get your big book of serging, and you're going to get the trolley so you can bring it to classes, which we want you to come and see us. We miss you. Okay, there's all kinds of things going on with embroidery software. We just did an embroidery event. There's huge interest in this area on embroidery. If you want to be able to design your own embroidery, they have a wonderful entry level called Creator, and it's really reasonable. It is only $1,199 to be able to get that. Or you can get the Big Kahuna, which is the entire embroidery package with a Wi-Fi device. That means it's going to be really easy for you to transfer designs. That one is going to come for $27.49. But if you've already got version 8, or you have version 7, all the way back down to, I think, version 6. Yes, it does say. If you have any of those versions of the software, you can update your software to the version 9 and get the Wi-Fi device, and that's going to be $7.99. Really cool deal. So these sales that I'm talking about right now, they are going to be around through the end of the year. So this is a perfect time to look at what we've got. I've got all this information on our website, but it's also on Bernina's website, and they always put a whole lot more than I can possibly put on. So you might, if there was a specific machine, like the wonderful new 770 QE Plus, look at the huge screen. It's got the same size screen as our 790s do now. It's got a big, beautiful screen, and it is now set up to really take advantage of embroidery. If you want to get that machine and get the new high-speed embroidery unit, we've got a special package going on for you. And if you are an Aurora owner, meaning you have one of the lovely 430s, 440s, or the 450s, you should be getting a special coupon in the mail. And for those of you who don't have that and you still want to get this 790 with, or excuse me, the 770 plus with the embroidery unit, come and talk to me. We'll give you a deal too. I promise. We won't leave you out in the cold even if you don't own a 440. So, don't forget, 770 owners, don't forget we've got the upgrades here for you. So we can upgrade your machine. Now, I can't replace your screen, but everything else that the new 770 Plus, we can put this new upgrade in your machine, and you can have that done here. It's not complicated. We can do that for you, and you can get that all done for $600. So that's pretty cool. That'll mean you can use that new high-speed embroidery unit. And by the way, if you have an old 7 Series embroidery unit and you want to trade it in for the new high speeds embroidery unit for the 7 Series, we are doing trade-ins on those. Finally, but not lastly, I don't want you to think that these are an afterthought. We have some amazing bundles and deals going on right now on our Q series. So we have in the shop a beautiful studio Q series. It's got a Q20 on it, but it can have a Q16 on it. That's easy. We've got a Q16 on a folding table, and we've got a Q20 on a koala table, and we've also got the big Q24 on the full-size frame. You can come in and see all of these. We can demo those for you, and you are going to be shocked at how beautiful, easy to use. You know, one of the really cool things about all of the Q series is that they're so much like our regular sewing machines. It's not a hard transition for you. So it just depends on what your budget is and what you want to do, but it's a perfect time for you to think about this stuff because we've got some wonderful deals for the holidays, and we would love to get you into the Bernina of your dreams.
And what's Dave say about the Q series?
It's cheaper than a bass boat. So that's what he says. Also, I want you to keep an eye out for some other things that are coming up. There's going to be some other little sales going on that are going to be subsets of these other sales from now until Christmas. Right around, I believe it is November the 19th through the end of November. We've got some really special deals on some of the more entry-level machines we've got. So if you've got someone in your life who's thinking about they want to get started sewing, or you have someone who you want to give a wonderful Christmas gift to, remember the Christmas gift, if you give a sewing machine as a Christmas gift, you're not just giving them one present, you're giving them a lifetime hobby. You're giving them also the lessons, because you don't have to give them lessons. We can do it right here for you. And we will do lessons for any age. So if you've got someone, a nice young person that you're thinking about, you want to do lessons, and you want to buy a sewing machine, we can do that for you. So I think that covers about everything for today. Oh, tomorrow, really cool things happening tomorrow. We've got a wonderful new block of the month project that's coming up very soon. I'm going to show you some stuff about that, and we've gotten some beautiful things here that I want to share with you. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we will see you at Facebook Live tomorrow at 9:30.